Welcome in. I want to balk. I want to say welcome into Chicken Dinner, but it's not really Chicken Dinner. This is a working title, one of the shows that we are adding this week during the NFL playoffs and during the college football semifinals. It is Joe Ostrowski. I'll be doing Chicken Dinner tomorrow. You'll see it right here on the feed via YouTube and the podcatcher of your choice with my buddy Sam Panayotovich. We've got a working title. We've got the man, Ryan Horvat, back in the mix. He's here, and we don't know what to call this yet. Ryan, we're figuring all of this out. I guess it's the Chicken Dinner Network or whatever, but we don't have a name for this show yet, as we are going to be adding shows over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. You would think that I would have something planned or something to throw at you because I've done pretty much nothing for the last 3.5, 4 weeks now. I was talking to you about this before we jumped on the pod. Being unemployed while still getting paid, I was like, not a bad deal just because it's during the college football playoff, tons of college hoops going down. And then we got the NFL playoffs starting up. We could always jump on the pod. So could still talk about the games, but I was thinking not a bad deal until I realized that because my wife works more than 40 hours a week, I have to do everything now, man. You know, I always had the excuse, can't do this, can't do that because I have to commute to Washington, D.C. from Maryland. But now I'm home all day. And to make it worse, because when I was working in D.C., my wife is such a psychopath that she has cameras in the house for when my son would stay home alone for, I'm talking like a half hour to 1 hour. But now, like the other day, she's like, well, what are you even doing? And I was like, oh, I've been doing laundry and cleaning up around the house. She's like, no, you haven't. And she pulled up the video of me just taking a little nap on the couch, watching some Netflix. So this sucks, man. So I'm glad that we're doing this and I could jump on the podcast because now I at least have an excuse not to have to run to the grocery store or pick anybody up for the next 2 hours.
Have I thrown a blanket over those cameras in my house? Maybe. Especially when she's out of town for work. Yes, I've definitely done that. Do I have it worse because my wife works from home?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, because there's no escape now, right? And I mean, I love my wife. I want to start I want to preference by saying that I love my wife and I love my son, but man, it's 24/7 now. There's no escape. There's no getaway.
None. So when are we supposed to look for jobs too? Like now this is the job. Like, wait a second. You know, the severance is going to run out at some point. So you've just been chilling. I know you came back home to the Chicagoland area during Christmas break, like Sam did. It's funny. You guys come back to here, even though you aren't living here year round. Maybe you will be eventually. But yeah, you came back here, of course, spent time with the family. Now you're back home, back to reality, sort of. Yeah, it just started, man. Not that we're here to complain, but we are still working. Like, that's the other thing that I was trying to explain. I'm like, wait, I am working still. I have to continue to put out content. Otherwise, who the hell is going to hire any of us?
Right. Exactly. I mean, I like talking about the game, so I'm happy to jump on, and this is awesome. And like I was telling you also, usually right now I got a ton of college basketball futures and win totals and stuff like that, but I haven't done anything with college hoops really. Last night or a couple nights ago, I bet Louisville. That turned out to be a disaster. I'll probably do a little NBA, but I'm going to go all in on baseball. That's the other thing I was texting with you is now, obviously we have to find, jobs eventually here, although this is the job, but also, man, is I'm just betting games in nonstop. This is my life now. Multiple screens all day long. That's what I keep telling my wife. She's like, maybe you should do this. Maybe you should apply here. And I'm like, pretty hot right now. I might just continue to bet these games. I could put my handle now, pro better, right? Like all the guys that are clearly not pro bettors, but claim to be. I could do something like that. Maybe do some hits across the country, something like that. I don't know. It's been a good year, though, college football and in the NFL. So if I ever were to get fired for the first time in my life, this was the year for it to go down, I guess, because I was able to save up some money. That's the other weird part, though, man, is I've had a job since I was 15 years old, actually. I wanted to go camping with my buddies. My dad was like, I'm not giving you any money. So what I did was I went and worked at a liquor store, which he hated, for 2 weeks, got that paycheck, and then I quit, went camping with my buddies, spent all the money. And then I came back and got a job at Dick's Sporting Goods and worked there for like 7 years. So this is weird.
Did you really?
Dude,
You were getting
yeah,
Dick's
I
Sporting.
ended up
I'm
getting
there
it.
like every weekend. Oh, 20% off every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Oh, wait, I found this on Facebook. Yeah, I'm part of this sports association in the state of Ohio. Give me my 20% off.
I became the manager, the assistant manager at the biggest
Really?
Dick's Sporting Goods in the Chicagoland area. Yeah, I have. The other weird part is now, like brushing off the old resume, like you, I've worked for the same company now for
Bro.
over a decade. And I mean, you were there longer than I was. So I'm like, well, what are my other skills? Like, what else can I do? And like the last job is Dick's Sporting Goods assistant manager. Like, kill me. And like, no, great job. I'm sure. I can't do that now, man. So that's the other weird part is applying for jobs when all you've done is talk about betting and talking about sports the last 15 years.
I don't remember the last time I'd updated my resume. And so to file for unemployment, to get that check on top of the severance, you have to have an updated resume on the website. So
Oh,
I sat down and I was going through all that stuff, Horvey. Oh my God. It was a challenge. Like, wait, what year did I do that fantasy show on Sunday mornings on the Score? What
yeah.
years was I doing Hit and Run with Barry Rosner? What about when I was producing this show? What about when I was a morning update anchor? What years exactly was that? I completely forgot. Not that I blacked out my 24 years at the Score starting as an intern, but I had forgot about how much stuff I did, like so much different stuff. And then I put this resume together. I'm like, holy crap.
Yep.
Like, how did I survive this long?
Yeah. I mean, and that's the other thing. Like, my wife's like, well, what about when you did this? What about when you did that? Because she's helping me with my resume
Forgot
game. She's
about it.
a lot smarter. And I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about this. Like, yeah, the
Yep.
fantasy football show that I did. And when I first started, I was the board operator for the Milwaukee Admirals, which was the
Mm-hmm.
worst job. And at the time, I was smoking cigarettes. So in hockey, I thought I had it all figured out. I was like, all right, I could do like my podcast and I'll run the board, for the 2.5 hours or 3 hours, however long the hockey game is. But I had figured out the timeouts, because it's not like in the NBA, or it's not like football where, I mean, I guess you could have injury timeouts and stuff like that, but it was very rare. So I thought I had the whole schedule. Like if the game started at 7:30, when I could take my smoke breaks. Of course, after like 3 weeks, I get really comfortable. The play-by-play guy like loves me, so I'm part-time, and he's like, I just want Ryan running the board. Everybody else is a disaster, which people still do not know how to run audio boards. It's a lost art. But
Mm-hmm.
so I go outside, I smoke a cigarette, I come back. He's been calling for me for like 3.5, 4 minutes. There was a injury timeout or something like that. And
Oh.
luckily I didn't get fired, but yeah, after that, no more smoke breaks. I actually had to take the job seriously. But I forgot about all the stuff that I had done until this happened. And now I'm putting it all on the resume. I worked for the AP. I would go and string at games. So I would go to
Mhm.
like Miller Park, Wrigley Field. And then after the game, do like a 2.5 minute report that I have no idea ever where it went. I never heard any of these reports, but I would get paid like $30. It was a good gig though, because you'd get to go to the game, and then after Ryan Braun went 2 for 3, Brewers win 4-3, shit like that.
Yep. All right, we got a lot to get to, man.
Yeah,
This
let's
is
do
a
it.
good week to start with the semis going on in college football. You've been killing it. We'll go over that in a second. And of course, the start of the NFL playoffs. For those that don't know, you are a big Packers guy. So I'm looking forward to that Bears-Packers conversation. So the plan is that we're going to do this once a week, thinking 30, 40 minutes. We'll see how long it goes, how many bets that each of us have. So if you are watching on YouTube, if I'm able to figure this video thing out, doing it for the first time on my own, if I'm able to get that uploaded, make sure that you're giving us a thumbs up over there. Subscribe to the podcast. The plan is to do this every week. It's going to be a lot of fun. A little throwback to the early odds days, Horvey. 5-6 years on 670 The Score Saturday mornings. I did a betting show, and like every other week, I was like, hey, want to come on in Chicago, Horvey? And you were always down. So
Oh
we
yeah.
decided to put this together. Let's hit on college football first. Then we'll jump into the NFL. We're going to have a big breakdown, I'm sure, on Bears, Packers, different perspectives on that game. First, Thursday, Fiesta Bowl. So stupid. Let's call it semifinal number 1. Thursday, right. Miami-Ole Miss. At the moment here, it's a juice 3 to a 3.5. Super high total. of 52. I tried to tell Sam how successful you've been doing in this bowl season. I think he wanted to see some proof, but you can tell the people how you've been doing and your thoughts on Miami-Ole Miss.
I do track all these. I was on BetStamp. You could do that. I use the Action Network more. I don't read any of the articles or anything like that, although I do have some friends that work over there. Shout out Alex Koloje. But I do track everything, and I try to get it up at least like 48 hours ahead of time. I will say, though, these bowl games, man, I used to try to get, like closing line value and bet these things right away. Now the college football playoff games, I bet right away. But bowl season's changed a lot for me, where now I don't really worry about getting the best of the number. I worry about the proper information, because you never know who's going to opt out, who actually cares about some of these games. But 9-1 this bowl season. So hoping to stay hot, probably jinx that. I haven't bet this one yet. I like Miami. I don't really love the 3.5. I could see this being a field goal game. I really like this Ole Miss team. I did bet them against Georgia. I bet some money line, which I also threw out on Twitter. Plus 220, I believe, was the price on that one. I lean under here. I really like both of these defenses, but I like Miami. I'm looking at the money line price right now, minus 160. I want to wait and see where this closes, but big fan of this Miami defense, man. Reuben Bain Jr., I argued all season long on my college football show, if we still voted for defensive players to win the Heisman, he should be the Heisman. I mean, he's a top 5 edge rusher getting after the quarterback. He's also top 5 against the run. And that's the thing. Ole Miss on the offensive side of the ball has been excellent all season long. I really like Trinidad Chambliss. And also, he's been really good under pressure. He's got a 79.0 grade under pressure. He's not under pressure a whole lot because he gets rid of the ball so quickly. Under, 2.59 seconds is his average time to throw. But I still think Miami's going to get home and make things uncomfortable for him. So I really like their defense. And then I already brought up their run defense, man. I mean, what are they? Second, only behind Texas Tech. They're tied for 13th in the nation right now. They're only giving up 1.1 rushing yards before contact. And I know Lacey's been really good. A top 5 power 4 back, over 1,400 rushing yards, 3rd in America. He's really good after contact. He's 3rd in the FBS with 88 forced missed tackles, 986 yards. But Miami's just such a good tackling team that I think that they're going to be able to limit what Ole Miss does on the offensive side of the ball. So at 52.5, 52, I lean under, but that's why I like Miami in this game. And then the other thing that you worry about for Miami on the offensive side of the ball is Carson Beck. I really like their run game. Ole Miss's run defense has been really damn good this season. But Ole Miss, as far as they're not really getting after the quarterback. And I worry about Carson Beck when he's under pressure. Like one of my favorite bets this season a couple months back was Louisville on that Thursday or Friday night because of their pass rush. And when he's under pressure, he's got like a sub 45 grade. But if he's got clean pockets to throw from, if they're able to open up the play action, if they could average 4, 5, 6 yards per carry, I think they'll score enough points. So I haven't laid the 3.5 yet, but I do like Miami and I lean under. Ole Miss has been a great story. I'm kind of cheering for them because Lane leaves, but I think their season comes to an end on Thursday night. I like Miami here. What about you?
Yeah, Ole Miss is the long shot in this situation. I agree with you on Miami. And, Georgia was getting some pressure, but they just couldn't get home. They just couldn't wrap up Chambliss. It was amazing to watch. When you think back to that game, I do wonder if a lot of what we saw with Chambliss is that repeatable, right? Like a lot of the situations and converting some of those third downs, is that repeatable against this defense? And I think that's certainly a fair question. This is not the Georgia team that we remember that was always in the mix for titles. Not the same team. The Ole Miss is a great story. I certainly understand why the money has come in on the Canes. This goes to Juice 3. I wonder if that Juice 3 is going to be available on game day on Thursday. I would go that route. Maybe the public is buying into Ole Miss because that was such a thrilling game. The quarterfinals, certainly the best one. But I'm with you. I'm with you on Miami. Are you okay laying it with 3.5 though? Let's say that's the situation that when people hear this on Thursday on game day that we're in. Are you okay laying it, or do you like the under more?
I like the under more. Right now, 52.5 minus 112 is the best price. Like I'm looking at the 3.5 for Miami currently while we record here. Even money. Now, you're never going to win long-term doing this, but I don't hate the money line because I do think Miami wins this game. Minus 160, best price at BetMGM right now. I might grab some money line here. I don't really want to lay 3.5. I think I would probably I'm going to play the under here for sure, and then maybe grab a little money line at minus 160 or better here, just because I could see this being a field goal game, man. I mean, Ole Miss's defense is legit. I really do like Trinidad Chambliss. And like I said, as good as the Miami pass rush has been, it's weird. He's got a better passing grade when he's under pressure than he does when he throws from a clean pocket. Mm-hmm. So I could see Ole Miss keeping this game within a field goal, like I said. My lean there is still Miami, but I'm probably going to play some money line and some under here. I could see Miami winning the whole thing. I could see them winning it all, man. With that defense, you have a veteran quarterback in Carson Beck. I really like their run game. I mean, and that's the difference here. As their run game, I mean, if you look at it this season, 15th in run blocking grade, 31st in impact run block percentage. They're really physical up front. I mean, as Notre Dame fans, we saw that week 1. I mean, they beat the living crap out of them in the trenches. I'm not the biggest Mario Cristobal guy, which is why I didn't go all in on Miami before the season. Right, it's hard to get the Georgia Tech game from a couple of years ago out of your head when all he's got to do is take a knee. Instead, they call halfback dive, fumble the ball away, and then get beat on a Hail Mary pass by Haynes King. But, I mean, they did a hell of a job, man. The last couple of years, even last year, they got off to, a 9-0, 10-0 start, and then they got tripped up a couple times down the stretch as double-digit favorites against teams like Syracuse. But he's done a really good job in the portal. I think that's how you win now in college football. Indiana's a great example of that. I think they're the better team. I'm not going to say they're the better coach team, but I do think they're the better team. So Miami for me, but I do like the under here quite a bit. I could see this being 21-17, 23-17, a game like that.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see a score like we did in Georgia, Ole Miss. That's probably not going to be in the cards as far as this game goes on Thursday night. Joe Ostrowski, Ryan Horvat, Horvy at Ryan Horvat on Twitter. I'm at Joe Ostrowski. And of course, follow Chicken X Dinner. Be back with a show tomorrow with Sam. Friday night, Atlanta, Georgia. Indiana, a 3.5-point favorite against Oregon. We're going to have a Big Ten team in the title game. The total is 47.5. 47.5. Indiana looked awesome in the quarterfinals, and so did Oregon on the other side. That was a bit of a surprise to a lot of people. I went in thinking, okay, this is going to be a really tight game. It was not. Indiana covering the 7 with ease. I didn't find that to be a big surprise. Bama, a public dog, no surprise there when they were getting 7. So, I mean, both of these teams were dominant in the quarters, and here they are facing off. What I find is interesting, Horvey, is that you were talking about, hey, Miami could win it all. Miami, as a 3.5-point favorite, has about the same title odds as Oregon, who's a 3.5-point dog.
Yeah. I mean, if I were going to do anything right now I would play a little Miami. Should have done that before the season. I like, and I think that I like Oregon in this spot, man. Right now, money line plus 155. This was the first bet that I made. I grabbed 4.5. I still like 3.5 because, like I said, I think they're going to win this game. You go back week 7. I know Indiana goes on the road in Eugene and beats them by 10. What was the final score there? 30-20. But I really like how Oregon played in that game. And I bet Indiana, so that was a sweat. But their offensive line, Indiana's top 5 in like every single metric, which is why Fernando Mendoza has been so damn good. He's been throwing from a clean pocket all season long. They struggled. They had their second worst pass blocking grade of the season against Oregon. Oregon dialed up the blitz. And that's why I like them in this spot. And that's why I liked them. I should have liked them. I should have said, I bet Texas Tech. I liked the story. Worst bet I made all season long, man, because Morton really struggles under pressure. And going into that game, everybody was talking about Tech's defense. Nobody was talking about Oregon's defense. And Dan Lanning, a really good motivator, a really good recruiter, but also a defensive genius, in my opinion. And they dialed up the blitz. They sent extra rushers in that game 41.2% of the time. I think they're going to do the same thing against Mendoza. And he's been pretty good, even when he's been pressured. But in that game, he only had a 71.4 passing grade, which I'm sorry, he had his worst passing grade, I should say, of the season. So I think Oregon's defense is going to show well here. Also, their run defense, really damn good. They kind of held them in check in that first matchup. Indiana only had a 59.5 rushing grade. I'm looking at it right now, 3.3 yards per carry. That was their worst rushing game on the ground all season long. And then Oregon on the offensive side of the ball, I was saying this to you before we started the pod. I like Dante Moore. I might like Dante Moore as a pro prospect more than I do Fernando Mendoza. He's got the nation's second highest passing grade right now, and he's pushing the ball down the field. He's got a 96.8 passing grade on 20-plus yards down the field. I really like Oregon's run game. It's going to be strength on strength, though, man, because Indiana's defense is so good. They could get after the quarterback. Also, their run defense is top 10 in pretty much every single category, every single metric. But I think Oregon is going to have a couple tricks up their sleeve. I like the fact that this is a rematch. And the other thing I've been saying since we started this playoff era with the expanded playoff, it's going to be so hard in today's world of college football to be an undefeated champ. I'm not saying Indiana can't do that. I love Cignetti. I like Mendoza. I like that defense. I like all the skill position players. I like their run game. But I feel like people are sleeping on Oregon in this spot a little bit, man. So anything over a field goal, I like them. And I'm probably going to play a little money line sprinkle, anything plus 155 or better. I'm going to go with the Ducks here.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, sleeping on the Ducks a little bit. The narrative is Indiana can't be stopped. They're the most complete team. They don't have a weakness. If you want to go offense, go defense, coaching, always prepared. And I do understand where those people are coming from. But you're also right. Like I wasn't surprised about Ohio State going down. I don't know if you were, but you do need to be tested. You do need to be trailing late in these games. And I do wonder if Indiana's gone through that a little bit. I mean, it was certainly impressive what they did at the very end of the season to both Ohio, but there were also some games where I'm like, oh, okay, Penn State wasn't all that impressive. It's nice to do it on the road, but it's not like you dominated that team. I get where you're coming from on Oregon. I certainly understand it. Is this another under game? Are we looking at these two semis and thinking that they're both going to go under the total?
Yeah, I mean, I lean under here. This is the one that scares me a little bit, man, just because of all the talent that's on that field, though. Right? I mean, you have Fernando Mendoza, who today I was working out and I look up at the screen and it's like, what can Dante Moore do in this game to jump Fernando Mendoza on the draft board? And I'm like, I don't know about any of that, but I do think that both quarterbacks are going to play pretty well in this game. I like both run games. The thing is, I like both defenses. And if I like Oregon, it's because I think they're going to show better on the defensive side of the ball, right? But I mean, in that first game, it was 30-20. So if I had to bet an over, which I'm not going to do, this would be the game. I really like that first under, but this one I'm going to stay away from the total. And I just like the Ducks so much in this spot. I could see it being like, I take a little bit of the over here and then it ends up being a shootout. Ducks win the game outright. And I'm like, why did I give any of this money back? So yeah, I lean both of these games to go under, but Oregon for me, no move on the total. But I do really like both of these defenses. We talk about both of these offenses, but like, people forget about Indiana's defense, I feel, man. That pass rush and that run defense, it's been excellent really the last two seasons, which is why they've won double-digit games for Cignetti.
So you're thinking Thursday under, Oregon Friday. That's what you like the most?
Yeah, that's it. Oregon's my favorite bet of the weekend, I'd say.
If you were wondering about those draft odds, Fernando Mendoza, about $4 favorite, around minus 400 to be the overall number one pick, belonging to the Vegas Raiders. What a fall for the Giants. They were in a position to get the one, and now we're talking 4-5, but they think they have their quarterback, so I don't know how upset they are about it. More your second favorite at plus 340, then a big drop off. We're talking about your guy Ruben Bain, 22-1. I don't see any way that happens with two quarterbacks sitting there.
I don't either, especially if it with it being Vegas, right? I mean, we were talking about this. Well, I think they should trade Max Crosby. They're not a really good edge rusher away from being a 7-8 win football team either. Even they need like 8 players, man, and they need a real coaching staff. Maybe don't go picking out of the retirement home for a 60-plus-year-old coach, 70-plus-year-old coach. But man, I mean, they're going to go quarterback. They're going to go quarterback here. Maybe it's not a bad bet if you do like Oregon in this game. And if you think Dante Moore is going to ball out against that defense and maybe Mendoza has another stinker. against this Oregon defense, maybe to grab a little plus 340 on Dante Moore, because I definitely think they're going quarterback. So I don't really hate that bet either.
Yeah, and we'll be airing it the next chicken dinner before Friday night, so we'll get a breakdown. Indiana, Oregon. Also have guests on the show tomorrow with Sam, and also go over all of the wild card games. We're going to go over the ones that you like the most, and we've got to start with, of course, Bears Packers. You're the Packer fan. I'm the Bear guy, and this is the third time that we're seeing it in a very short period of time. Go back to week 14. Packers win 28-21 up in Lambeau. That game was a push. It was dominated by Green Bay in the first half, dominated by the Bears in the second half. Bears had a chance to tie it or maybe go for the win, and then at the very end, picking the end zone from Caleb Williams. Week 16, a miraculous finish in favor of the Bears. They win at home in overtime, 22-16. Remember the DJ Moore 46-yard touchdown. There was the onside kick. There was the 4th and 4 conversion, the fumble on 4th down with Green Bay with the backup Malik Willis out there. A lot of crazy things to finish that game. Green Bay was the better team in much of that game. But in the end, the Bears end up winning. So through these two games, I would say that the Packers have been the better team on the field, but the ends have been pretty crazy. Slow starts for the Bears and strong finishes, but in the end, they end up splitting it. So when this line pops on Sunday night, Horvey, there were some books that made the Bears favorites and some that made the Packers favorite. It took a number of days. It took about middle of the week before the market finally settles. Green Bay is your favorite. Whether it's 1.5, that depends on where you do your line shopping. But Green Bay is the road favorite. Total 45.5. The trend that everybody's going to talk about. Playoff debutantes, Caleb Williams, his first playoff game with the Bears.
Yeah, but he's the Iceman. So I got to start by saying this, man. Even though I am a Green Bay fan, was born a Green Bay Packer fan, I love the Bears this season because I was really, really heavy on the win total. I was really heavy on the Bears to win the North. And I sprinkled a little some NFC futures and some Ben Johnson, as well as Liam Cohen, coach of the year. So I've been a big fan this season of this team. But right, they've been pretty lucky. I mean, their defense, when they don't force turnovers, has been one of the worst in the NFL. They're giving up the 4th most yards per play. And if you look at it, they have the 6th worst success rate. I know those are nerd stats, and they've been taking the football away, but I worry about them in this spot because Green Bay's offense is going to be the healthiest it's been in weeks. You're going to get Jordan Love back. It's not going to be Malik Willis. And I do think that there's some times where Malik Willis looks a little bit better running the LaFleur offense, but that's crazy talk that like he's better than Jordan Love. Jordan Love's the better quarterback. He's had a really good season. He's limited the turnovers. That's why I like Green Bay in this game. If Chicago can't take away the football, I think the Packers offense is going to have enough success to win this game by a field goal. You're going to get Jaden Reed, the healthiest he's been all season. Christian Watson's fully healthy. Josh Jacobs is fully healthy. So I think if Green Bay could run the ball for 4 or 5 yards per carry, if Jordan Love could hit the throws deep down the field, I think that Green Bay is going to win this one outright. I mean, even the Bears, the offense came on late against Detroit. I did like what I saw there in the 4th quarter, but the defense, Jared Goff threw for 330 yards. Gibbs and David Montgomery combined for 122 rushing yards, 4.5 yards per carry. You also have the narrative. I don't even know if it's a narrative. You have the storyline that Matt LaFleur might be coaching for his job. I know a lot of Green Bay fans want him out. I think that's crazy talk, man. I do think that Matt LaFleur, although this has been his worst coaching job, I would argue, I do think he's a very good coach. And you look at the list of who you'd bring in. It's Mike LaFleur, it's Cliff Kingsbury, a bunch of guys that you don't want. Harbaugh maybe, but I think this is a big game, man, for the Packers, and I think that they're going to win this game. I really like Chicago again next year. I think this team's only going to continue to get better. I know they spent a bunch of money in free agency this year, and I like their draft picks, but they're going to get a better running game, a better running back. I like Monangai and Swift, but Swift ain't going to be there next year, and they got to get better on the defensive side of the ball. It's hard for me to trust the Bears in the playoffs with this pass rush. And they just can't generate a pass rush. And if you give Jordan Love clean pockets, he's going to pick you apart. Also, is Dennis Allen, like he did in that second matchup, do you think he's going to throw a couple curveballs, or do you think he's just going to play man defense and blitz Jordan Love? Because if you do that, he's going to do what he did in that first matchup and complete 12 of 17 balls for 133 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I like Green Bay. Won't shock me if I'm wrong, man, because the Bears, they're playing with some magic. But I like the Packers. I bet the Packers pretty big in this spot immediately on the open. And I still like them, anything under 2.
That would be insane for Dennis Allen to start blitzing again, the way that Love carved up that Bears defense, and he carves up everybody against the blitz. You know this. So that would be insane. It felt, I know he was out there for a shorter period of time, but it felt like he learned his lesson and he was doing the right thing in that spot. It was very different. The Bears defense stinks. Like a lot of people are going to talk about Caleb's first playoff game, and that's going to be a big narrative. I got to tell you, I would push back on that a little bit, because if you haven't noticed over the last few playoffs, things have changed a little bit. And I used to always talk about this with maybe young golfers, where it kind of doesn't matter as much. Like, they don't give in to the pressure. Like, Caleb Williams has felt pressure his entire life, every level that he's been at. And the same goes for a lot of these young guys. Over the last few years, there's been 14 quarterbacks that have had their first playoff game, and Horvey, the cover rate is around 500. Like, I think they're 8-6 against the spread, actually. So I don't know that that's still a thing, but people are still fading it. Like, they're going against Drake May, they're going against Bryce Young, and they're going against Caleb Williams. It seems like the betting market is a little bit split on this. I've frankly had a tough time with this game. When recording Sunday night with Sam, I mentioned it was a quick lean to the Packers, but I also am looking at some ways, with the home field advantage. I have my concerns about Green Bay. A lot of times when you come back from a concussion, that first game back, you're not the same guy either. And then you have the injuries for the Packers. You said they're healthier. What about Tom? Is he going to be back in this one too, or no?
So that's the one I think we're still waiting on. Zach Tom right now. I mean, LaFleur at the presser said he expects him to be back.
Okay.
Yeah, so he is. I guess tomorrow would be the big one. Tomorrow or Thursday and Friday would be the big practices. I expect him to at least be able to give it a go. I'm not worried about the offense. I'm more worried. The case I would make for Chicago would be, okay, well, the Packers defense without Micah Parsons is a mess, man. I mean, Rashawn Gary, I bet him to win Defensive Player of the Year, thinking that Micah, because he was going to be chipped and double teamed so often, would open things up for maybe him or Lucas Van Ness. Neither have done a whole lot. And then the Packers secondary is a complete liability. I mean, when you're picking up Trayvon Diggs off the streets before week 18, I think that says everything that you need to say, man. So that's why I don't know that Caleb Williams is really going to struggle like everybody expects. He's played in huge games before. He's played against this Green Bay defense enough. Now he's beat Green Bay twice. And that secondary is a little bit of a mess, man. So I could see Caleb Williams throwing for, I mean, how many yards does he really need to throw for in this game? And the other thing is Green Bay's run defense, man. Go back a couple weeks ago against Baltimore. Derrick Henry had like 20 carries in the first half. They just legitimately ran him into the ground. If you could get the ground game going here and average even, again, 4 or 5 yards per carry, I could see Chicago having enough success in a low-scoring game to cover here. So, like the under, I did bet Green Bay pretty big, but I won't be shocked if I'm wrong on this one, man. And maybe the Bears go on a run like the Commanders did last year all the way to the NFC Championship game. They didn't have a very good defense. They had some magic, and they had Jaden Daniels, who was really hot at the time.
I feel like on a weekly basis, it's a conversation of, well, if the Bears want to have any success, they need to turn the ball over. And they keep doing it. They've been doing it all year. And we're like, is this sustainable? Well, maybe for this year it is, and maybe next year it isn't. The totals come down a touch. I thought it was going to be coming down a lot more. Maybe some of the early reports about the wind were a bit exaggerated. I mean, we're sitting here talking in the middle of the week, so it's still tough to say what the situation is going to be on Saturday night. The way we're talking about this game, the way we are kind of fading these defenses, we like both quarterbacks. I don't know. I know they're facing each other for a third time in a very short period of time, but it sounds like we're thinking over, even though there might be some wind gusts on the lakefront.
Yeah, I mean, and that's where I keep going back and forth is with the total, right? Because 45.5, I mean, I could see this being 24-21. 21-20, just a classic game.
Right.
But I could also see this being a shootout. I mean, Ben Johnson, offensive genius, knows this Packers defense. Matt LaFleur, maybe coaching for his job with the healthiest this offense has been, obviously knows this Bears defense. My concern would be the wind. It would be the weather, the elements, maybe if I were to bet the under, it would probably be a first half under. Just because even last week against Detroit, the Bears offense didn't do anything until the second half. And it is Caleb Williams making his first playoff start.
Dude, it's every week.
Jordan Love.
It's every week.
Yeah. And it's Jordan Love coming out of the concussion protocol. I could see the offense being clunky to start and then taking off in the second half. So maybe if I were to do anything with the total first half under, but full game, it'd be hard to bet an under in this game. I think we could get some fireworks, especially in the second half with these two quarterbacks, with these two offenses, and with these two defenses.
Second half over?
Second half over would probably be my look. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless it's just a complete shootout right out of the gate, man. Like the scripted stuff goes well. LaFleur's in his bag. Ben Johnson's in his bag. That would be my concern, but I'll probably be looking at the second half over here.
Do you see the Bears have covered the second half line in their last 7 games?
Yeah, 7. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Crazy.
Amazing. Yeah. All right, let's keep things moving. Here's a game that I have a much stronger opinion on when it comes to the side. We've got New England, a 3.5-point favorite at home. Another quarterback, first time in the playoffs. Herbert on the other side has not seen a lot of success, but New England laying 3.5 at home, total of 46. Patriots or the Chargers, Horvey?
Yeah, I bet the Chargers here. Now, that said, man, I had New England under 8.5 wins. I just thought that was a crazy adjustment. And I love Drake May. I loved him at Carolina. I didn't understand all the hate when he was coming out, when he was in the combine. Did he have some stuff that he had to clean up, some mechanic stuff? Yeah, but every single young quarterback does. He could push the ball down the field. And Vrabel was obviously an excellent hire. I like the way that they fixed up that offensive line. But give me Harbaugh and Herbert here in this spot, man. I think that they're going to win this game outright. You have Justin Herbert coming off that playoff stinker last year where he threw, 4 or 5 interceptions, although he threw 3 all season long. I think he's going to protect the ball. I think they're going to be able to run the ball. And I like the Chargers in this spot. Now, the concern for them is you're going against this New England defense. You're going against Vrabel. He's going to dial up the blitz. And that offensive line has just been beat to hell all season long. But that's the thing. It's been beat up all season long, and they continue to win these games. I'm a big Herbert guy. I like the Chargers in this spot. I think they win this game outright.
Here's how I boil it down. I've had a lot of concerns for anybody that was listening to Bet Sweats about the Chargers with all the offensive line injuries. Yep. But it's matchup based. Are the Patriots that team that can get to the quarterback constantly, that's just going to bring heat all day against a bunch of backup offensive linemen? Who do you trust more? Do you trust Harbaugh or do you trust Vrabel? I think it's certainly a fair debate that you can have there. Herbert has been in the playoffs twice, and he has not fared very well. Here's the difference. When he lost those 2 playoff games, the defense sucked. They won this year because of the defense. That's the big difference. They've been winning because of this defense. So I think it's a very different situation. We know about the weaker schedule that New England has faced overall. Now they've just passed every test too. Remember, they beat the Bills in the regular season. So you can't just say that every win is against very soft teams. But I keep going back to the pressure. Is New England going to get pressure? If they do, they win this game. They probably cover this game. Matchup-wise, I don't really trust them in that sense. And Herbert's got a defense now, and I like the coaching with Harbaugh. We're getting more than a field goal. I've got to take the Chargers plus 3.5.
Yeah, and again, I'm not the biggest trends guy, man, but the Chargers is dogs this season, and we're getting more than a field goal, like you said. 4-0 straight up is dogs this season. You do get the angle, the narrative that Drake May is making his first career playoff start against a quarterback with playoff experience who also kind of has something to prove after the stinker from last year. And if you look at it, man, from week 10 to week 18, the Patriots' run defense has been brutal. 131 yards on the ground per game. So I think if the Chargers rush for 120 yards, 100-plus yards in this game, they're going to win this game outright. Also, like you said, you just made the best point right there. This defense has been the real deal all season long. And the Patriots, They played, I mean, that's why I liked them the second half of the season. They played the easiest remaining schedule. And look at these. They haven't played a top 10 defense since week 8 before Halloween. So I think the pressure gets to them. Watch, I say that they'll win this game by double digits. They've screwed me all season long, but I had to bet the Chargers here. I really like them in this spot.
The wild card game that seems like it has the most disagreement is Bills-Jaguars. This is the first game on Sunday, 1:00 Eastern, noon Central. And frankly, I'm surprised where we're at. It felt like it was going to be a lot of Bills money and the number was going to keep on climbing a little bit. And that's not the case. We've seen Jaguar support come in throughout the week as we sit here in the middle of the week, Horvey. It is a pick 'em. Extremely high total of 52.5. Bills at the Jaguars, it's a pick 'em. So immediately after, it felt like there was a lot of Bills love out there. But as things have settled in, as people have kind of figured out where they stand on this game, I'm seeing a lot more Jacksonville love out there. I'm torn on this game as well. I know I'm going to end up betting the Bills. I know it. And I'm not trying to take that 8-game winning streak and kind of brush it to the side because I don't think you can do that. Not in this league. And the Bills, their history on the road in the playoffs, it's not very good. So I understand all the cases people are bringing up with Jacksonville. In a pick 'em spot, do I want to fade Josh Allen? Horvey, the answer is no. But I can't sit here and say that I have the strongest opinion on this game. I do respect what Cohen has done with that offense and the way that Jaguars defense has played.
Yeah, man, this one's tough. Like, this one's really tough for me just because it reminds me of the NCAA tournament when there will be two teams that you really like. You're like, man, I like Memphis and I like Murray State, or I like St. Mary's and I like Murray State. And then the committee just matches them up in the 5-12 and you're like, damn it. What am I going to do here?
You can swear.
Because yeah, I know. I forget about that. But like coming into the year, I try not to be like the victory lap guy on social media unless it's a bet or a take that I had on my former show that I got pushback on because I love Chicago and everybody's like, that schedule. Ben Johnson's never been a head coach. Caleb Williams, all this nonsense. And I was like, no, they're winning double-digit games. If they don't, I'll shave my eyebrows, just because it was like constant back and forth. And I was like, they're going to be good. It's not going to take a year for Ben Johnson. The other team was Jacksonville for me, man. I'm not the biggest Trevor Lawrence guy, but he's much better than what we've seen the last couple of years. And he proved that, especially right now during this 8-game winning streak. He's playing the best football of his career since his Clemson days. And I loved Liam Cohen. I liked Liam Cohen when he was at Kentucky. He was so good calling plays at Kentucky, he convinced people that Will Levis could be a first-round, second-round pick, could be a starting quarterback in the National Football League. But what I really liked was the run game. Last year in Tampa, even with Bucky, they used Tucker, they used White. And I thought coming into the year, that's what they're going to do with ETN and Tank Bigsby. Now they end up moving on from Bigsby, but the run game has been awesome. Trevor Lawrence, I bet the over on his touchdown passes, over 21.5. I took the over on their win total. I took him to win the South. I took Ben Johnson. I did take him too. I took Liam Cohen at 14-1 to win Coach of the Year. So I've just been all in on this Jacksonville team. They're hot. They're at home. But it's just the reason I can't get to the window and could only bet Buffalo is Josh Allen in a pick'em spot. Yeah. This is also the year preseason where I bet Buffalo, like I know Sam did, to go to the Super Bowl, to win the Super Bowl. I love the people. I love the fan base. I love going to games there. This is a tough one to call, man. Just because it is a pick, because Jacksonville is the hot team. It's a tough place to play, but it's Josh Allen in the playoffs. And if this isn't the year that they get over the hump, at least get back to the AFC Championship game, I don't know what happens. I don't know what the next move is. I know what the next move should be. You fire the entire coaching staff. You spend a lot of money on the defensive side of the ball, but they've spent money. So right now I lean Buffalo, but man, it's going to be tough for me to bet against this Jacksonville team. I feel like they're my children.
Dude, if they go out in the first round, no Mahomes, no Lamar, they go out in the first round, I think you're right. You have to fire the coach. You have to.
Yeah.
Like, what do you promote, Joe Brady? Like, what do you end up doing there? Boy,
Harbaugh.
That's crazy to even think about. But yeah, now that he's available, it was looking like a bad group of hires. Like all these coaches are getting fired, going to have all these replacements, but where are the hot names? Where's the Ben Johnson from last year? Where's Vrabel? Like you couldn't find him. Where's Liam Cohen? Like we're talking about in this spot. Well, Harbaugh's going to be at the top of everyone's list that has a vacancy, and he's going to go to the spot that has the best quarterback. So yeah, I'm going to be on Buffalo. Is that what you're thinking? Are you going to be on Buffalo, but maybe you don't have the most amount of confidence in it?
Buffalo for me. Yeah, I'm not all that confident just because of the way that Jacksonville's playing right now. And I do think Liam Cohen's a really damn good coach. Everybody wanted to clown him and clown the hire because he had the Duval quote.
I know.
I was almost like, this might be a good thing for the market, man. Even more Trevor Lawrence and Liam Cohen and Jacksonville haters out there. But it would be Buffalo or pass, most likely, especially if I have a good weekend. I'll probably go pretty hard on Buffalo. Road favorites here. I think this has to be the year if it's going to happen for Josh Allen. Like going back really quick to Harbaugh, it's like we were saying that with the Ravens. Remember a couple of years ago, they had home field advantage. They had a historically good defense. Mike McDonald was still the coordinator, and all they had to do was run the ball. They were averaging in that game 6 yards per carry, and they dropped Lamar back 35 plus times. So like, that's the thing I keep going. Like, is Harbaugh a good coach? You know what I mean? Like, if he goes to Buffalo, let's say that they are one and done. Is he the guy that could get them over the hump? Because I keep arguing that they need like an offensive minded head coach, like the next, but I don't know who that is. Like you just said, Ben Johnson. I feel like that's kind of what they need here if they are going to move on from McDermott. But I don't know. Like, where are you at with Harbaugh?
I would like him.
Fans hate him.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's been so long, and I understand. And there's a lot of questions and a lot of issues with the offense too, and how they've handled Henry. And yes, exactly with Lamar too. So I understand why they're frustrated. What I hate in that situation, let's say he makes the kick. Does he stay? You're going to run it back because he made a kick? It seems like that's the case. Like because that kick was missed, everything changed. Maybe Tomlin gets fired instead of Harbaugh, or do you fire him if they lose in the first round of the playoffs? I don't think they would have made that sort of a move, but maybe I'm completely wrong. But that game, that fourth quarter, that kick impacted the future of so many people in this sport, which I think is ridiculous when you think about it.
It is. It really is, man. If they were going to fire him, I know that year, like I said, they were the 1 seed. I would have fired him after the game against Kansas City. You got Mahomes at home. Again, everybody was running the ball all over the Chiefs that year. And I love Lamar, man, but he's not Aaron Rodgers. You're not dropping him back 40 plus times in a cold weather game with that freaking defense. So I would have fired him then and there. This year, I actually thought he had I thought this was a decent coaching job. I really like the Todd Monken hire, but I don't know, man. Something's off there. I think they just need to blow the whole thing up. Speaking of Tomlin,
let's do it.
I wish I could give you a really good reason that I love this bet so much because the matchup sucks. I could see Aaron Rodgers dying on the field. I could see Hunter and Anderson just murdering him on the field. But you know damn well I bet Pittsburgh at 3 at home against Houston. I think the magic continues. That was the other big winner that I had this year. 7-1 Steelers to win the North. I still can't believe it goes down. That kid, he misses the kick. I'm sitting there like in tears, pissing away money, and all of a sudden misses the kick. I cried. Happy tears of joy. Obviously, I'm a big Aaron Rodgers guy. Pittsburgh, I don't understand how they continue to do this, man, with that offense.
I don't know.
Scotty Miller in the year 2025, MVS, Roman Wilson. They will get DK back, obviously. A bunch of tight ends. One of them hurt for the year that's 350 pounds. The defense has been a letdown, but they keep winning games. So I like Pittsburgh. Everybody's going to bet Houston. I don't care about like the public stuff, but I know everybody's going to love Houston. The way that they're trending, the way Stroud's been playing, they have the best defense in the league. I think Pittsburgh finds a way to win this game outright, though.
Yeah, well, the public did have a horrible year. So I guess that's something to keep in mind. They're going to be on Houston. You're right. They're going to be backing Stroud as a favorite.
Yep.
Historically, that's not a great idea. But you're right. They find a way. And then, of course, Pittsburgh gets the Monday night game. Because, of course. And we know Tomlin's history. We know the Steelers' history. They just win those games funky things happen in that building. Like, can you sit here and explain what was going on in that Ravens Steelers game and how they ended up winning? And it wasn't just the kick. There was a lot of other things that led up to it. It's hard to explain. And you're right about DK Metcalf. He's everything on that offense. Everything goes through him. He leads them in every receiving category after he just sat for the last couple of weeks. That place is going to be amped, on fire. I love this Houston defense. I like what D'Amico Ryans has done. Oh, I hate that we agree so much, but I'm with you. It's got to be Steelers. We're not getting a 3.5, are we?
No.
Okay.
No.
I didn't think so.
I don't think so. I mean, Tomlin, Monday night, home team. I don't think that it happens. If it does, an even bigger bet for me, though. Anything over a field goal, and I'm going all in on this Pittsburgh team. I mean, it's almost like house money, legitimately, literally, for me, because they did win the division. I didn't think that was coming home.
Yeah.
You know, I did bet them on Sunday night. I didn't even hedge. I was like, should I play some Baltimore? Not going to, just because I don't know how rusty Lamar is going to be. I don't know that they're going to be able to run the ball for 7 yards per carry with Henry like they did against Green Bay. I don't really trust the defense. A lot, though, there were so many things in that game, dude. Hamilton goes down, the missed kick, the touchdown pass from Aaron Rodgers, wide open. Dude just falls on his ass. Although, man, Pittsburgh's defense was nowhere to be found on a couple of those as well from Lamar. I love this one, though. I love the Steelers this weekend.
All right, NFL, you like Packers, Chargers, Steelers the most. Those are your bets that you're very confident in. But like we mentioned, you'll probably bet the Bills with us. And when I say us, I'm talking about Sam, because we know he's going to be there if you've been listening to the show. You'll probably bet every game, though. But those 3 NFL bets are the ones you like the most, correct?
Yeah, those are the ones I like the most. Again, man, I like too many dogs. Everybody is going to love Philadelphia, and I get why. And that San Francisco defense without Nick Bosa.
They don't blow teams out. I don't know about that game. They don't.
I kind of like San Fran.
Do you?
I mean, dude, you're giving me number one, they're another big winner for me this year, over 10.5 on the win total. I really wanted them to get that 1 seed, man. But I have some San Francisco futures as well. And the defense obviously is an issue. They're getting no pass rush. But if you could get Fred Warner back, right? And I do trust the offense. I like Purdy. McCaffrey, big fan. The receiver room, I don't love as much, obviously, with no Brandon Ayuk. I think that they're going to have to go out and spend some money. But you're giving me Kyle Shanahan against Sirianni. And I bet the Eagles big last year to win the Super Bowl with that defense and with Fangio and with Kellen Moore calling the plays. But I'm getting Shanny 4.5 against Sirianni, even though it's on the road and even though that San Francisco defense is beat up. Probably going to end up betting the Niners. And then, Rams at 10.5 at the open on 10, even like they intrigue me just because it is Bryce Young making his first playoff start. I just keep asking myself, how many points is Carolina going to be able to score in a playoff game against that Rams defense? So if I had to bet the game, it would probably be favorite or pass, Rams or pass, but I'd probably get to the window on San Francisco, man. I just want to wait and see where that closes. Probably not going to get any better than 4.5, but really quick, where are you at on that one, man? No lean?
That was a big move from 3.5 to 4.5, and it might just keep going. I thought that was really interesting. That was a big move. And my first thought was, man, the Eagles don't blow anybody out. They just don't. They rested all their starters, which could be good. So that might be part of it. It seems like Lane Johnson and Fred Warner won't be out there, and Lane Johnson might be, which, as you know, has been massive. Purdy as a dog has been pretty bad, and San Francisco scored 3 points on Saturday. I know it's a tough matchup, but they scored 3 points in that big game against Seattle. So I have my concerns, and this 49ers defense can't stop anybody. So what are they going to do against that Eagles run? That's my concern. I get why there's been a move on Philly. I am not going to lay that number. I'll tell you that right now. Unless this comes back down to earth, I'm not going to be laying that big number. It's going to be San Francisco or pass for me.
So the update yesterday from Shanny was Warner is officially out, right? But he could return possibly for the NFC Championship game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
Yeah, shit. I don't know, man. I want to if we could get the 6 with San Francisco, it might be a big bet, but yeah, I might have to pass on that one. So I'm going Pittsburgh, Chargers, Green Bay, and then again, the biggest one of the weekend or the week for me, Ducks. If the Ducks lose by a touchdown, you guys might not hear from me for a couple weeks.
That's your favorite one, and you've been on fire in college. Okay.
Yeah, I think Oregon's going to win that game outright. And then if favorite one in the NFL would have to be Green Bay, unfortunately, for the city of Chicago. I just like that spot. I like the offense coming back fully healthy. I'm not going to play a whole lot of props, but I probably will look at a Jaden Reed anytime touchdown. Haven't done so yet, but he'll be my pick to click in this game.
Not Watson. He's been getting the looks in these matchups.
Yeah. I mean, he's wide receiver number 1, kind of by default in Green Bay. But I don't know. I feel like his number properly priced. I'm going to go with Reed. I think that they're going to have some gadget stuff. That's why I like him. I could see an end around or a reverse or something like that. LaFleur's going to have to be in his bag here. I think we're going to get his best coaching performance of the season, which there hasn't been many. It's not really saying a whole lot, but I do think that I think they're going to get creative on the offensive side of the ball, which is why I like Reed a little bit more than Watson.
We went a lot longer than I was thinking.
It won't be like this every week. I mean, it will happen down this week.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We had a lot to say. You have not been on the air in a long, long time, so you had a lot to say that you had saved up. So I'm happy. Work on a title, man. Got to get a name for this show because it gets confusing. Am I saying chicken dinner? What am I saying about this? There's going to be Corby's Corner, apparently. I guess not this week, maybe starting next week. But we're going to do this week, and we've got to come up with a name. All right.
Let's see if we win this week. If we win this week, we'll go with something really corny, like something that would be on our previous network, like Horby's Hot Corner, Horby's Hot Spot.
There's no pirate involved, is there?
No, God, absolutely not. The other thing, man, is it feels good to record and do a podcast with you, especially after the last 3 weeks, just sitting at the end of the bar, talking ball with people. But it's also nice just to get to the games, not have to, over under. Who would you rather bet's passing yards, Matthew Stafford or Bryce Young? What do you think about Rico Dowdle's rushing yards?
We could just give out the shit that we really like, that we're going to be betting.
Nothing like just getting to the fucking point, right? Saying I like Oregon. They're going to beat Indiana outright. I lean Miami. I like Green Bay. It's nice.
Not trying to fill time. Exactly. All right. We will have a chicken dinner tomorrow. Joe and Sam, and then Horvey. We'll do this again next week. Tell a friend, check it out, subscribe, YouTube, podcast, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. So we'll talk tomorrow right here.